This is my 1982 Datsun 280zx, and in this video I'm going to be swapping out the crusty old stock seats for a set of Porsche 944 seats that I bought for $200. Now they're a little crusty, but I think with a little cleaning up they'll actually look brand new. So if you're looking to upgrade the interior of your vehicle, finding nicer OEM seats from another vehicle is a cheap way to do it, and that's what we're going to do in today's episode. So with a bucket of water and a rag here, I'm going to start wiping off just the dust and grime that has accumulated on the seats. After just a few minutes of wiping down, these seats look almost brand new with just water. As good as these look, I think with a little detailer, these seats will look fully restored. Wow, this bottle sucks. Whoa, these seats look so good now. I feel like I could easily resell these for at least twice what I bought them for, but we're not gonna do that. They're going in the car. So I've already deleted the original seat from the passenger side of this car back when I was daily driving this so I could fit my surfboard in here. So this is just the factory slider. So these holes here, this is where the factory seat attached. I'm going to measure this out and then pretty much adapt it to the bottom of the Porsche seats. So I'll have to make a little adapter plate that bolts onto the feet here and then has another hole that can then allow me to attach the factory sliders. So first I'm going to lay down some masking tape between the holes so that I can actually mark where the holes are. And I'll lift the masking tape, put it on a piece of poster board, and then cut out my template from the poster board, and then I'll be able to line that up to the seat. Alright, now that I have my template, I know where the holes line up compared to the feet on the seat, so I can build little conversion plates for each foot that line up with the holes on my template. So here I'm measuring the distance between the holes to figure out how large to make the brackets. 2 inches by 4 inches seems to be the right size. Next, I'll lay masking tape over the slider bracket template and the foot of the seat and mark the holes. Then I'll transfer the masking tape onto the paper template. Okay, so here's my first template. Pretty much I'll transfer this later on to a piece of metal. That'll be my first bracket. Each corner may be a little bit different. So I labeled this one front right because when the seat is right side up, this is the right side actually, even though it's on the left. All right, let's go ahead and make templates for all the other corners. Alright, now all my passenger seat templates are made. Now it's time to turn these into real brackets. Alright, I brought my templates to work here and we're going to cut them out of metal, and Ricky here is going to assist me.
Thick metal.
So here's Ricky cutting some metal plate to the same size of the templates for me on the bandsaw. You can also use an angle grinder to cut your metal if you don't have a bandsaw. Then we marked where the holes that needed to be drilled were using the templates, and then I got to work drilling each of the holes on the brackets. Each hole that connects to the slider also needs to be threaded, so we're going to weld a nut in place on every bracket. Alright, Ricky made the first plate for me, so now I'm going to go ahead and copy pretty much what he did and make the other plates. Alright, there we go. My plates are all made up, so now they're ready to go home and get tossed on the car. Alright, I've got my plates here back home with my seat. Now before I install them, I do have just a little bit of the seat bracket on the seat to cut off here so that these plates will clear when I attach them. Alright, after a few minutes of working with the angle grinder, it looks like I cleared out enough space to now be able to put my mounting brackets onto the seat, and then I'll move on to putting the slider onto the seat once I've mounted all my brackets. Alright, it looks like the back part of the slider is just running into this nut, so I think if I just clearance this a little bit, that should fix the problem on this side. And then my other issue is the seat belt holder won't allow this to line up. It's just a hair too far in, so I think I'm just going to whack it with a hammer and just bend this out just a tad bit.
longer than a few minutes later.
I wasn't able to bend the seatbelt bracket out of the way with the hammer, so I actually just ended up removing it. I had to drill it out. This is where the original hole was. I kind of just moved it over a few mils so that it will clear the seat. So now I should be able to put this in place and then put the slider onto the seat. Alright, I've got the seat test fitted in, and it seems like all my holes line up. Alright, now I'm going to pull the seat back out. I'm going to paint all my brackets black and anything that has exposed metal black so that it doesn't rust. And then I'm going to attach the back of the seat, and then I'm going to reinstall the seat for the final time. Alright, so while these parts are drying, I want to show you guys something else. So this is the back of the seat. Right here, these holes, this is where they attach to the bottom half of the seat. So these two holes have a thread behind them. So they actually have a piece of metal right here that's threaded, that's welded to the back. And this threaded piece of metal fell out. So I opened up the back of the seat here, was able to fish this out. So I'm going to continue to remove the leather from the seat to see if there's a way to pretty much get this back in there so that I can bolt the two pieces of the seat together. Alright, so I've pulled back enough of the upholstery here to expose the backside of where this piece needs to go. Originally, I was going to try to take all of the material off the seat, but because the seat is so old, I think I'm going to try not to remove as much of the upholstery and the foam as possible to kind of preserve the integrity of what's here. So I was originally going to try to weld this back on, but I'm not going to be able to pull enough off to get enough clearance to get the welder in there. So I think I'm going to try JB Weld first. So the JB Weld is pretty much a two-part epoxy that can be used on metal. All right, so I'll mix these together. I'm going to apply a little bit to the brush. I'll come around and I'll brush it on. This is the quick setting JB Weld, so it'll set in 5 to 6 minutes. So I'm trying to just hurry up here. Sorry if my camera work isn't the best. Next, I'm going to apply JB Weld onto the threaded piece of metal that I'm trying to reattach. From this angle, you can't really see it, but what I'm doing is I'm placing the broken piece onto the seat and then screwing in a bolt to hold the piece in place overnight while it dries. So let that cure for a little bit. That should be good to go. I just hope I didn't get any JB Weld in the threads.
The next day.
I let the JB Weld cure overnight and now it's rock solid. I was able to take the bolt out and had no problems, and I feel that this is very secure. So the next step is going to be to get the upholstery back on the seat, and then I'll put the two pieces of seat together. I'll put all the parts that I painted. Everything is dry now, since this also got to sit overnight. So I'll put all those back onto the seat, and when that's all done, I'll put the seat into the car and the passenger side should be done. This seat looks so good. I'm so excited to put this in the car. Damn. I've had these seats, I think I mentioned earlier, for since I bought the car. I think I bought these seats the week I bought the car. And I bought this car 4 years ago. So seeing the seat together right now is a big moment for me, and dude, I'm just so excited to put these in, and they look so good. The car is a little nasty, so before I put the seats in, I'll do a real quick clean so that all that doo-doo is not under the seat. Alright, after a little vacuum action, the carpet looks good as new. This is actually a new carpet. It's kind of a few years old now, but the carpet that was in here before was terrible. And on the channel, actually, I replaced the carpet. It looks like it just cleaned right up, just need a little vacuum. So now we can start putting the seats in. Alright, damn, seats in there. Sheesh. Yo, this is good. Sliders work. Okay, damn, dude, this is it. Fucking perfect. Hell yeah. All right, time to do the other side. Where's my flip flop? Unlike the other side, I have to remove the driver's side seat. Then I'll mark the slider attachment points with masking tape and make a template just like I did on the passenger side. I'm also going to measure the stock seat and where it sits in relation to the rail in hopes of getting this seat to fit a little bit better than the last. Alright, so a little different than last time. I actually marked where the stock seat sat in relationship to the rail. So pretty much the seat is this shape to the tape line here, comes around, so that I can place the Porsche seat here in relatively the same area. And my hope is that this driver's seat will sit a little more center than the passenger seat did. So let's give that a shot. I'm going to attach masking tape, sticky side up, to the feet of the seat, and then I'll mark the mounting points on the tape so that I can transfer it to the template once I've decided where to place the seat. Alright, now that I have my seat layout, I can transfer these into a template, and then from the template I can transfer them onto metal to make my final brackets. Alright, so now I have my templates, which I'm going to transfer onto my metal. I did change these up a little bit from the previous set, so hopefully these will help make the seat sit a little more center and where I want it to in the car. And if these work out good, I'll make a duplicate set and I'll put them onto the passenger side. Alright, so I drilled the first hole. On the last set of brackets, I welded a nut here to put a thread on the bracket. But on these new brackets, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tap a thread into the metal itself so I don't have to do any welding. So this is an alternative way you could do this if you don't have a welder. So I'm going to get the tap, the adapter, and the little wrench here for it. I'm just going to put the tap into the adapter here. And then the adapter goes into the wrench. Tighten her down. So I'm going to drill my hole. So now I'm going to put the tap as straight as I can and just start to spin it very slowly and evenly. You want to make sure that your hole and your threads are straight. So try not to rush this part. There we go. I should be able to put my M8 bolt in there. The first time going through maybe a little tight. Oh, nope. Looks like I did a good job. Perfect, bam. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I think I'll drill all my holes first on the other plates, and then I'll go ahead and tap all of them and get them all threaded. Alright, I've got my plates mocked up on the seat. In the back, they kind of hang over a little bit just because the way I designed these plates, it brings the seat more forward. So I think I'm just going to lop off the corners here to make the plate a little nicer and just minimize anything that it could hit. I think it'll also make the plate look a little nicer. Alright, there we go. I got all my brackets kind of rounded off a little bit. The next step is attaching the sliders. So I have the same issue that I had with the last slider, is that the seat belt buckle here kind of doesn't allow the rail to go as far over as it can because it's just running into the seat. I didn't show this on the other side, so I'm going to show you now. What I pretty much have to do is drill out these two little, I don't know exactly what the construction is here, but I do know that this is what holds this bracket in, so I have to drill these two spots out. Hallelujah! After a long ass time, got the bracket off. So now I'm going to throw the seatbelt bracket into the vise, drill a new hole so that the bracket will fit properly onto the seat. Looks like I should be able to line it up with the hole, and it should clear the seat now. Let's get this all home and get it put together and test fitted. Alright, I'm encountering some little issues that I didn't encounter on the other side. The slider is running into the bracket because this bracket is now longer than the previous bracket. I think I just need to cut this little notch out and that should solve that problem. And the other thing is, these sliders have these little spacers that hold the slider onto the seat. And on this side, they're actually smaller than on the passenger side. So I think with a few washers, I can fix this problem, and I'll just cut out the little notch. And we should be able to get these sliders into the car. Alright, got my plates all modified and chopped up. So now the rails should fit. So let's get the rails on the seat and get the seat together and in the car. there we go. The seats are in. A lot of work, but nothing too crazy. These feel a hell of a lot better than what was in here before. Oh man, so solid. Hell yeah. But before we close the vlog, I've got one more thing to just put the cherry on top on this interior. Buried somewhere in here. Let's see, where is it? There it is. I actually had these a very long time. I don't know if there's a passenger and a driver's side. I think they're the same. So these status error mats, you may recognize this brand from Need for Speed. Ordered these mats just for this car because I thought they would just look super sick on this vehicle. And man, I am so excited. I've had these for a long time. I'm so excited to finally get them in the car with the new seats. Yeah, so dope. If you want to see more tow content, go to my Only Tows. Damn, it's like a whole new car in here. Next up, I think I'm gonna take care of the door cards. Those are pretty buku. If you want to see more content on this 280zx, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Really helps me out. And thank you so much for watching, and good luck on your project.